So anyhow, I just got to the phone company doing air pressure work on big cables, and I was like a rookie. So they had a lot of splicing going on. They sent me up. It was the dead of winter, like 1978, on them bad winters. I'm sure everybody heard about them. Cold, and I didn't have the right clothing or nothing on, of which I was young and stupid. So they sent me with this splicer named Ralph Preston, who they call Sarge. Did I, after getting to know him, I didn't have too much respect for this guy. But that's the way the splicers were. They were hard-headed old Dutchmen. So anyhow, we were up in Rossmoyne on a new cable run, and there was probably a foot of snow, and it was colder and blue blazes. And we had these old blowers that you start, and the heaters didn't work in them, and I'm sitting there, and I got a pair of boots on, and I am just freezing. I'm at the top of a hole. And this guy, he'd send me up cases and stuff, and he said, "Here, clean this and stuff." And okay, and I'm trying not to act like I'm freezing, but I am. So anyhow, I said, "I'm going to do this in the truck." He goes, "No, you do it. You stay out here and do it. If I'm in this, you're going to be in it too." So, and he knew I was cold. So I'm up there, and about 10:30 in the morning, and all of a sudden, Harold pulls up. He had a big bucket truck. I think he might have been the only guy in the garage with one. And he pulls up just friendly as can be, and he asks him Ralph about a cable in there, and he looks at me and he goes, "Man, why don't you get in a truck and do that?" And I just pointed to Ralph. So anyhow, so he knew, and he took off. So I'm sitting there cleaning up all this stuff that didn't even need to be cleaned just because of Ralph's attitude. So here Harold pulls up about 20 minutes later, and he says, I think I know where my trouble is, but I'm going to need your boy here for a minute." Ralph says, "Okay." So I jump in Harold's truck. He says, "Come on." And I'm thinking, what the heck's he need me for? Because I got a clue about it. Why? And here he pulls up into a Kmart or something like that. I couldn't tell you what kind it was. He says, "Come on, I got to get something in here." We go in this Kmart, and back then I was making $200 a week or something, $230 a week. And I had just got married and stuff and didn't have, maybe $10 to eat on a whole week. So he goes in and go right to the shoe department. He says, "Here's what you need." And he throws me a pair of boots that had, they must have had a 3/4 inch lining of wool or some kind of wool. He says, try these on, and here I've got them. I couldn't believe it because, when you first start this stuff, you're like on probation. Here we are in Kmart. So anyhow, I said, "Oh man, these are great." He goes, "If you're going to be out here, you got to have the right crap." I said, "Well, I will have." He goes, "Well, let's get these." I said, "Dude, I ain't got enough money." I said, "I ain't got but $5 on me." And these boots were like $7 back then. Harold says, "Don't worry about that." We went up there and threw it. He paid for it. Man, I couldn't thank that dude enough. And that was the first time I really got to know Harold. And, he didn't know me from Adam. And I'll never forget it. I still, to this day, Dave brought up Harold's name, and we're sitting there thinking. I told Dave the story, and he told me things about Harold, about his military I didn't know nothing about. I knew he was a great coon hunter and stuff. And the dude he never put himself above you. I could sit here for an hour and tell you stories about one time up in Indian Hills. They had this big party going back to these rich people, and they had the trouble crew back there for almost a week looking for this trouble back at their swim pool or something, because they were having like the vice president of the United States come in. These guys could not find what was wrong back there at that thing. So anyhow, for some reason, I was helping Harold. It was like right after we got off, they let us help the trouble guys if we wanted to stay out late. He says, "Come on." So anyhow, we went up there, and here there was a bunch of big wigs up there and everything, and they had all these holes dug up. Official had them all up there, and they had about 2, 3 splicers up there. So Harold gets out and he walks over and he says, "Grab my meter." So I grab his meter and he puts it on the thing. And he hands me a hammer and he says, "See that new fence down there?" He says, "Get in there and start hitting these posts." So I start hitting the posts. All of a sudden he goes, "Hold it." He says, "There's your trouble." Sure enough, when they dug it up, somebody put a fence post right through the cable. And all these bigwigs are looking at these other splicers going, "Boys, you've been out here for 3 days. This guy ain't been out here an hour and a half, and he done got the trouble." So that tells you this guy forgot about more stuff than other people did. So Smitty, I got a guy here named Dave Smith, and Dave's an old timer, and he knew Harold too. Tell him about how he got his name Mud.
Him and Jack Spilker was going hunting. His wife said if he come in with muddy shoes on, his name would be Mud.
So
that's where it stuck.
Yes, and then on. I mean, all the old splicers, that's what they call them, Mud.
There ain't no secrets around here, is there?
No. And then also Dave was saying that Redding Garage, they opened in 1950 or in the 50s sometime, and guess who was one of the first guys in there? Old Harold. So I remember a black Ford truck, and he always had that thing in there for the dogs. He'd go coon hunting. I said, and you know, he looked like he slept all night. And I said, "Where you been coon hunting all night long?" I'm going, "Are you crazy?" And one thing he was real proud of is he built a new barn right before he retired, and he was real proud of that. So I hope he got a lot of use out of it. But Harold's in my fondest memories of this place. And I'll tell you what, I could sit here for 3 days and tell you about the people I hated. But that's my story.
Oh, Bill, Dave, I appreciate it. I'm sure they will too. Thanks.